So should I buy right now? Is the housing market going to crash? This is the question a lot of people are asking themselves, especially in this housing market. So this video I'm recording in October of 2023. A lot of it's relevant though, here and beyond. So for those that are asking that question, really the data points is what we need to think about. So affordability right now is at an all-time low based off inflation where rates are. So obviously people would like their payments to be less, and they're really challenging that question on should I buy? Well, the first question is if you can't afford it, let's then talk about it. That's the first question. So if we look at the data points, I'm going to share a little image above, but you can see that, housing prices really, since the COVID times and really through COVID, those record equity growth, record appreciation rates, and we're seeing those a little bit of stabilization, and now it's growing again as we're seeing, and it's projected to into 2024. Why are housing prices not coming down? Well, the reason for that is supply and demand. A lot of sellers, would-be sellers, aren't selling because they have rates in the 2s and 3s, which I don't believe we'll see ever again. However, that demand will continue through next year into 2024 and beyond, especially if the rates come down and affordability increase. So the reason why home prices won't crash, and this is the most important thing to understand, is prior to the financial crisis, there was a lot of loans done, subprime loans, given to borrowers that clearly could not repay these loans. Income wasn't verified correctly. The skin in the game, the down payments were low or nothing. That's all changed. So now people are well vetted, they're well qualified, their income's reviewed, they have skin in the game, they have record equity. No one's going to default on this equity, especially for how much they've built over the years. Now, if defaults were to increase, which would then drop home values, essentially, you would assume, that would primarily be, in my opinion, from some of the maybe higher rates we've seen from 2022 through 2023. If those consumers are impacted by the recession, by inflated costs, by job loss, some of those recently purchased homes, we might see some delinquencies, and that's not necessarily going to be uncommon. However, that's not going to tank home prices overall because of supply and demand and because of what we're talking about here with a record equity. The other ones I see in certain hot markets where during COVID, short-term rentals were huge, and so we saw this massive increase of people buying short-term rentals in certain markets. Well, we're seeing now the vacancy rates of these short-term rentals are massive. Does that mean more listed homes or default on these homes for what were investments at the time that are not penciling out at this point? We don't know. So just know that moving forward, if you can afford it and you're comfortable with the payments today, that's the most important part. Even if rates and inflation will fall, which is expected in the next couple of years, and a lot of people will refinance these loans and lower their payments, you have to be comfortable with the payments today and the rates and afford it. If you can't afford to buy today, and you buy a good home in a good location and pull comps and look at the data, it's always going to be a good time to buy. If you plan to only live there for a year or two, maybe not. So this is more for those that plan to buy and hold. Now, about 90% of millionaires in the United States invest in real estate, and they do it for all the reasons we know: appreciation, the equity growth, some tax incentives. Over time, the majority of wealth is created in the United States through real estate. So it's always a good time to buy for these variables as long as you understand the data points and you know your market and you buy in a good location. So I hope that helps. If we can help, always get a second opinion. So before you lock that rate, get a second opinion. If you're buying in Oregon, Washington, or Idaho, we are happy to help. Reach out. Thanks.